Welcome to Two Parks in the Pod. David Kuhn with you. Another thrilling edition. 2025 just around the corner. How you doing, Kuhn?
Oh, fine. Is it Dave or is it Santa? Merry Christmas and all that.
How was it for you?
It was good. It was very festive, very merry, very indulgent. Lots of food, which I'm kind of feeling now. Although I am today fasting because I'm wearing one of these. Do you know what this is?
It looks like a big plaster.
It looks like a big plaster. It looks like one of your neuro patches, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's one of those Zoe sensor things, all about nutrition. One of my New Year's resolutions is for getting a bit wiser to nutrition and diet and gut health and things like that, and how it interacts with meds and Parkinson's more generally. So I'm detoxing after Christmas, after an excessive Christmas, shall we say?
I'm trying to drink more water at the moment because I found myself.
You don't drink any water, do you?
No. And
I asked Dave the other day, how much water did you drink yesterday? He goes, I was well hydrated. I had 2 cups of coffee, 2 cups of tea, and 2 pints of Guinness. And I pointed out that doesn't count. Those things have the opposite effect of water.
Well, I've been doing a bit of research, and the brain is 75% water. And dehydration, as little as 2% dehydration, can cause cognitive issues. And a loss of sodium and electrolytes can cause acute memory and attention deficit. So it's very important that you hydrate. And 2.7 litres of water a day you need for a bloke. So
yeah, I was looking at the stats on the Parkinson's On app for people that have been logging their water. And in the main, people aren't reaching their target of 2 litres a day or 8 glasses a day. Bit of a catch-22 in Parkinson's, isn't it, drinking water? Because the downside is, of course, you'll be peeing all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I think loading water towards the start of the day helps.
Exactly.
So if you drink a pint first thing in the morning, wait before you have your food and your meds. Ease off in the evening, then you're not peeing all night. So
ease off in the evening, especially with tea, coffee, and alcohol, because those things will make you pee more and will make you dehydrated more. So yeah, if you are going to do those things, do it earlier in the day. I'm not suggesting you have a pint of beer at 11 o'clock in the morning, but if you are going to do those things, then earlier in the day is what I find. But it'd be interesting to see how the people's experience about how they manage hydration.
Talk about Christmas and stuff. How do you get on wrapping your presents this year?
I'm wearing one of my presents, actually. I'm wearing some London Underground socks that Helen got me because I've turned into a bit of a train geek. But no, unwrapping presents was okay, actually. I kind of just tear into the present, so I wasn't very delicate about it. I'm not sure I can do delicate unwrapping anymore, but yes. What did you get for Christmas, Dave?
I got a nice little Marshall portable speaker. So beautiful. So you can take your music wherever you go. If you're staying in a hotel or whatever. Fantastic. I also went to Copenhagen for 3 days before Christmas, which was lovely.
Ooh. What did you get up to there? Christmas markets and things, right?
Christmas markets, went on a boat trip, went for a walk around the city, went to the Carlsberg Brewery, had some beer tasting. So perfect. Yes. 3 days, really, really good time with the family. So flying wasn't a problem. I managed to get through the airport okay with my lanyard.
Your sunflower badge.
Sunflower lanyard, and it was all good. So,
did you get bumped to the front of the queue?
Not really, no. But the flight wasn't particularly busy anyway, so it was all good, very good.
Mm. And what about Christmas Day itself? Because you had a bit of a meat fest, didn't you?
Yeah, I had 3 lots of meat. Had some beef, some ham, and some turkey. I did the cooking. My wife did the preparation, so I just shove it in the oven at the right times and stuff, and it worked out brilliantly. So just the 4 of us for Christmas this year. And had a great time, really good time.
When you said you did the cooking, you put it in the oven. Does that count as cooking?
Well, the prep, prep.
What about the fatherly duties of carving? Are you still responsible for that, or is that beyond you now?
No, I have to be really on to be able to carve. So my son did the carving, which works out well. So
yeah. And how does all that meat sit with you, literally, and your meds?
You've got to make sure you take your meds a long way away from loads of meat. So it's not good for parkies, really, loads of meat. But it was good for my soul, I thought Christmas eating all that meat, so perfect.
Well, I was chatting to a few parky friends over Christmas, and the sort of common theme, one of the common themes was how to manage being at home for several days, being quite sedentary, excess food, maybe excess alcohol, and how that all digests with or doesn't with your meds. And I think a lot of people have difficulty. What I found particularly difficult was having a long meal over like 2-3 hours, because I go from one med window to another med window, and it's like I don't have any gaps. So taking meds away from food becomes quite problematic over the festive period.
I think there's a lot of pressure on people to have a good time as well, isn't there? If you're not feeling great on Christmas Day, you don't want to ruin it for everybody. So, that's
No, I just retired to the bedroom, to be honest with you. Every so often,
right.
I just take little breaks because I can't. Firstly, I can't cope with more than one person talking at a time, and all that food, all that sitting down, lack of exercise. I feel like I haven't. Not that the sun's appeared in the last week, but I feel like I haven't been out much. And after this, I'm going to go for a nice detoxing walk because I feel like I need to do a bit of exercise. So I don't know. I just get the impression from what you say, from what others have said, that actually Christmas can be quite difficult for those reasons, and of course other reasons because people tend to reflect.
Yeah.
And one thing that people do at this time of year is perhaps reflect on their Parkinson's and compare themselves to the year before. And normally it's deterioration. But I was talking to one of our podcast friends, Ellie, over Christmas, and she was
Yeah.
saying that actually and Helga actually, who've both had transformations in their Parkinson's. Ellie post DBS and Helga post having her pump. And both have seen a transformation, and both were saying, how their Christmas this year was better than last year. Which I always find a weird concept, being better in Parkinson's, but good for them, and it's encouraging, isn't it?
Really encouraging, yeah. And 2025, there might be breakthroughs this year. There's lots of things in the pipeline, so hopefully little things might improve for parkies over the years. Passage of time is difficult to celebrate sometimes when you've got a
It
degenerative.
is.
Talking of DBS, what's the latest on yours? Because you're not too far away from having it, are you?
Yeah. I'm down that road. I don't like giving a sort of running commentary on my uh, journey with Parkinson's. Although it sounds strange doing a podcast talking about Parkinson's, but I am one step closer to DBS. I had the kind of crucial meeting with the multidisciplinary team, as they call it, the neurologists, the neurosurgeons, plural, because there might be two, and a whole bunch of other people. Like there was 10 or 12 people in the room, me and Helen, and we had a chat for an hour. Really good chat. Talked about the pros and cons of DBS, but then also what system of DBS you get. Gets quite complicated. It's almost like you decided you're going to buy a car. What car are you going to get? You're choosing the Ford, the Toyota, the BMW, because there's different choices and different pros and cons with each system, and different target areas in the brain. So we were talking all of that. Anyway, long story short, I'm one step closer to having DBS. I'm almost given the okay. The team have given the okay. It's now down to me. If I do go ahead, which I probably will, it will be springtime. So 2025, a lot of that will be about DBS for me. So yeah,
Which could mean a dramatic improvement in you as well.
it could, but by all accounts, pros and cons. There's some risks, but the benefits far out the way risks. Particularly in my case, I keep being told I'm young, which sounds a bit strange because I got my 50th birthday coming up next week. But in Parky circles, I guess I am young. I guess we both are, or at least we were diagnosed young, and that's advantageous when it comes to things like DBS. So yes, hasn't quite sunk in, but yeah, I've kind of one step closer. One step closer.
We'll follow you every step of the way on the pod as well with that. It'd be interesting, really fascinating.
Yeah, we are going to do at least one, possibly two episodes on DBS with experts and people that have either going through DBS or have been, and recounting their experience. So, to be honest, it's a lot to get your head around. And I was thinking about the podcast when I was having all these appointments, and I was thinking, how do people literally get their head around it? Pardon the pun. It's such a complex topic, and hopefully we can break it down for you in one of our informative episodes that will coming up early in the new year. What are we talking about today, Dave?
Well, today we have the beacon of positivity that is Barbara Salzberg Matthews, who's an illustrator, mime artist, perfect person to bring a warm, glowing welcome to 2025. She's a wonderful woman. She's illustrated a book which is called What Parkinson's Feels Like. It's fantastic, really, really interesting, different perspective, and everyone who's in it has come up with what their Parkinson's feels like. I did one about pulling my socks on. You hear about that in a while. But she's a wonderful woman and a great way to bring in 2025. Let's have a listen.
Barbara Salzberg Matthews, welcome to Two Parks in a Pot.
Hello. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you.
Great to see you. Great to see your smiling face as well. Just tell us about your Parkinson's journey to this point. When were you diagnosed and how did it all happen for you?
I was diagnosed in January 2020, and I always remember that day. It was like being punched in the gut because I never ever expected this is what I have. I thought I had an essential tremor or a pinched nerve, but I have this dang disease, and at first it really made me feel that I have no life. This is the end of me, and I had to rewrite my future. And my kids were pretty upset, and my husband. But then I got very angry at the disease, and I said, I'm going to make PD my bitch, and I'm going to show you, and I'm going to live my life fully, and I'm going to give back and have a good time while I'm at it.
Yay. Amen.
Quick clap for that.
Yes, yes. I've heard you say something similar before on another podcast, Barbara, that you saw yourself as a victim almost of the condition. Is that how you see it, or did see it previously?
Well, I remember when I started to draw because I'm an illustrator. I have a background as a head of art, a visual arts teacher and theater arts teacher. I used to be a mime artist as well. And I have some books that I illustrated. And I thought, I'm going to make Parkinson's a thing, something you can see. So I drew what felt like to me, which is this huge wave coming from behind, like a mist of a gray wave, trying to take me down, roll me up in a ball, and kick me under the table. So I roll where the dust bunnies live. And I thought, oh my God, what a horrible life. So I purposely, every morning, I get up and I see that and wave and I push it off my body and I go forward and I hopefully do good and make people smile and maybe dance a little bit too.
I first came across you dancing because you put out this tweet saying, Parkinson's can't stop me dancing. And it went viral. And you got the world dancing, the Parky world dancing, including me.
Oh, so much fun. And it was a complete surprise. Dave and Kuan, I mentioned briefly, I had a negative situation where at that point, my neurologist said I was progressing. This dang disease was getting worse and it was spreading across my arm. I couldn't draw and paint, which is one of my happy places. So just decided I'm going to write my philosophy of life, and I did. And can I say it very succinctly? Parkinson's reminds me how precious life is, and I'm aware of my diminishing time and energy to get things done. So I got rid of negative people in my life, and I focus on today and what I can leave behind. And if I hear good music playing, you can be sure I'll be listening to it.
Excellent.
From dancing, baby.
It does make you realize what's important in life, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. That was a very important silver lining. And in some ways, I feel healthier and happier than pre-Parkinson's because when you have something that's taken away, you appreciate it much, much more.
I think you appreciate the little things in life as well, don't you? I appreciate I never used to. I get up and watch the sunrise and things like that. I never used to do that.
Oh,
little things in my life I really appreciate.
Well, I like, Dave, what you wrote. If I can, I'll mention the ebook. I decided that, well, first of all, we don't experience Parkinson's the same. Everybody has different combination of symptoms. Everybody's different. And I asked the world through Parkinson's Europe to please share a description of what Parkinson's feels like to you. And Dave, you wrote something quite beautiful. And it actually was hard for me as an art. You challenged me. If I'll read the quote, Parkinson's is like living life in slow motion. Simple tasks seem to take forever. Putting your socks on in the morning can be a major challenge. I always wear brightly colored ones to make me smile. It's very satisfying when you finally manage to pull them up. And I was, living life in slow motion is another way, another world, and the idea of such precious small joys, like the colorful sock. And I tell you, I really appreciate being able to pull my own socks up. So that looks real. As an artist, I had to blur the background to have a contrast for you living life in slow motion and the busyness of the world around you.
You did an amazing job on it. It looks incredible. It's far better than I expected it to be. Just amazing. What are the challenges in writing this book with her?
Well,
Painting this book, I should say.
yeah, my Parkinson's. My arm. I use the analogy. It ran out of gas, so I was trying so hard to get it finished by a certain time because I had a whole pile of other commitments breathing on my shoulder, and my hand would go numb, and it even hurt. But I was so motivated because the project has such meaning. And some of the descriptions were incredibly beautiful and hilarious too. That I got a second wind. Maybe it started a little bit more dopamine happening. I'm not sure. I tried so hard to make it, personalize it, and something I could. A bunch of young children, friends of mine, and trying to explain Parkinson's to a child, they understand when I said, "Well, the dopamine is no longer produced, and it doesn't get the over to the nut." So they're a picture, analogy, and they seem to understand me better.
You said something at the beginning of our chat here that you wanted to see Parkinson's, or you wanted the world to see what Parkinson's is, and doing it visually and in that creative way. I think it's fantastic because so much of Parkinson's is what you don't see, right?
Well, that was one of the motivating factors, Kuhan, in that I remember when I got the early diagnosis back in 2020, and I'm sure I had PD well before then. I had many symptoms, but I don't know if it's because I'm a woman, but I was told, every time I went to the physician, you're just aging. When I showed my shaky hand, you're just aging. But basically, I felt when I told people I have Parkinson's, they stopped seeing me. And they started to look at a checklist of symptoms. And I actually saw their eyes shift to my hand. And I thought, ooh, I don't like this feeling. Ooh, I'm beginning to feel unseen. I'm no longer here. So we had to change that. So I thought the book, What Parkinson's Feels Like, was one other additional tool that we could use to build empathy, to inform and raise awareness, not just for people with Parkinson's, but their clinicians too, and family and friends.
It's been shared by quite a few clinicians I've noticed as well, which is brilliant. Lots of people on board with it. I think you only know what it's like to have Parkinson's when you have Parkinson's. So the beauty of this book is people with Parkinson's explaining what it's really like, which is...
Yeah. It's important that our voices are heard because often these decisions and the research is very detached, and we are not machines. We're people, and we have a heart, and we have a brain and a body. And so it's important to address the whole person here.
One that really touched me was Deborah Milligan, diagnosed with the onset Parkinson's at age 41 from Portland, Oregon. He said, Parkinson's feels like being tied up in a million knots. My muscles are always fatigued. I wish I could feel normal and not hurt. And people don't see the pain of Parkinson's. It does hurt, you know.
It hurts a lot. My foot, I get that dystonia. And it's I didn't know
how... that's excruciating, isn't it?
Very, very bad. And certain things can help it. Stress is a real horrible factor. Many people sent in the similar descriptions, and so I merged them. And this is by two people you may know. Rochelle Flanagan from Dublin, Ireland, diagnosed at age 46. And Dr. Sonia Mather, diagnosed at age 28. And I merged their two different descriptions because there was so much similarity. Parkinson's feels like an unwelcome guest who is still in my house when I get home and have to look after them. They try holding me back as I do my best to face the challenges that are inevitable. And I had such fun illustrating that unwelcome guest.
The way that you express yourself in the community through this book, is expression always been part of your lives? I mean, you mentioned the mime artistry and your other creative endeavours. Is any part of your Parkinson's linked? Because there is some ongoing research to understand the link between creativity and Parkinson's. What's your
Oh,
view?
well, I know my neurologist is Dr. Lorraine Callia with Toronto's Movement Disorder Clinic at Toronto Western Hospital. And she, with Dr. Bas Bloom and a few other people, and forgive me, I don't remember everyone's name, they wrote a paper called If Art Were a Drug. And it's talking about using creativity. And in this case, it was visual art. And that helps people with Parkinson's. My own personal experiences, I found I got second wind and I could work through when my symptoms seemed to block me, when I could not draw. I couldn't move without pain. But because of the meaning and the beauty of doing this art form, I was able to get through it and get that second boost. It's very interesting.
Do you find it almost like a treatment?
Yes, I do. I'm using both visual arts and mime. I mentioned to you I have a program called Mime Over Mind, and I had trouble walking. So my right foot would drag, and then I would use visualization and focus on feeling, looking for that feeling of when my heel touched the ground. And then I was able to override what the Parkinson's was telling my body to do because I took back control and I said, you watch it. And I won't say the rest of the words. And I'll swear in Hungarian instead. Oh, I said, yeah, it's the foot to move
That was
normal.
rude.
Well, all I said really was, damn my mother's God. And she knows I say that. So it's not as bad.
Override is a good expression, actually. Some of my creative endeavours can almost get me out of an off period.
Yeah.
Literally. It can be
Yeah.
so powerful. You kind of get this buzz and high. It is literally dopamine. You know, it is literally like taking one of the pills. It's that powerful.
What happens to you, Kuhan? What triggers that, if I may ask?
Yeah, so I certain things like nature and it's all based around photography mainly. So some other creative endeavors like writing and things, but photography, visual things are really my thing. And if there's a nice sunrise or a sunset that looks like it's coming up, I will I could be in a complete off period, slouched on the couch, not able to move one period. But if I get an inkling of a pink sky, I'll just grab my shoes, run out the door, run down to the local park and just take 200 photos in the space of an hour. Yeah. And I'd get so much joy from that. I'd be buzzing. And Helen doesn't understand it. She's like, 1 minute you're literally like, off in every sense of the word. You haven't taken any medication, but the stimulus of that kind of creative opportunity just completely transforms you. And I feel that. And I've always wondered, why can't we just somehow harness that? Why can't we just somehow harness that?
I feel with you so much, and I believe that I think it's called Brady Canisius. Paradoxical kinesia. There, paradoxical kinesia. You've seen that video with the man who has severe Parkinson's, quite bad, and he writes.
That's a cool one.
Yeah, paradoxical kinesia. And I developed the using mime techniques to help override these awful symptoms. And I worked with a man in Vermont named Rob Merman. He's a mime artist who also has Parkinson's, and he was teaching people in the States how to use the tool. And he also is a circus artist, and he gave the people with Parkinson's a peacock feather that they balanced on their hand, where they put the point part on the hand, focused their attention on the colorful feathers, and had to walk across the room. And if they can't walk, then just to balance it from sitting. And almost everyone stopped the tremor. And I witnessed it for myself in the people here we were training with Parkinson's. So there's something going on there.
Like a drug, but without any of the side effects, right?
That's right. I'm very excited about that. How we can retrain the brain and create new neural pathways. So I'm doing that with in using the arts, with storytelling, with visual art, with movement, with mime, and it's quite powerful. And you don't side effects that you get sometimes with drugs as well, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, exactly. Win-win.
You've got a very expressive face, and you've got a few tips on how you can, because masking's a problem with me.
Yes,
I can sometimes look a bit miserable.
Okay.
In fact, Larry Gifford says in your book, he says, mask my face. So even when I'm happy inside, it doesn't shine through. And you've done a great picture of him with two smiley faces coming out the top of his head. And
Yes, I had fun with that. I had a runaway smile. I grabbed it and I put his smile everywhere. Well, there is something you can do.
Tell us.
Okay, facial isolation to wake up the face, because with Parkinson's, it's like trying to put us to sleep, shutting everything down, moving slower, and so I start usually go from the top of my face down to the bottom, and I say, let's take our eyebrows and raise just your eyebrows, not your
Come on,
eyelids,
Dave.
just your eyebrows. He's doing it. You're doing it. So like this, like that. Here's what might help you is tell yourself a story. I was finding, as a woman of a certain age, I now go into some shops for younger people, and it's as if I'm invisible. The retail person does this look at me where the eyebrows just go.
It's like
And
you going to TK Maxx, Dave.
It's like saying, yeah, right, as if I care. So
Yeah.
when I think of that salesperson, then I can separate and just isolate my eyebrows. Separating, so you just raise the eyelids, not the whole face, just the eyelids. All I have to do is think of my mom. But my mother had 4 of us children, my 2 cousins, because their mom passed when they were little, so she raised them during the weekdays, and lots of foster children and animals. So you could imagine when things were tough, mom would lose her patience and yell. She didn't want to yell, so she just used her eyelids like this. And that scared the bejeebies out of us.
Wow.
So if you think of a parent looking at you and you're about to get in deep trouble. So
I know that look.
yeah. And then the nose. Most people can snarl. Some people can snarl one side. Then you have to put your finger in your nose and move it around, and you get the other to do. Some people can even do the flattening of the nose like this. That's where I'm taking the 2 muscles at the side of the nostril and pulling them down. Oh, wow, your faces are amazing. Oh my goodness. I think you must be playing a lot with your nose as a child. You must have picked your nose a lot because you're really good at it. You're gifted. You're gifted with that. And then the mouth, of course, the mouth. Well, as if you bit into a lemon. So you think, ooh, pinch, tight, and then make small, big, rotate in circles, clockwise, counterclockwise. And then, I love your faces, man. You guys are awesome. Oh my God. And then
This looks so weird.
you're so good. Now let's isolate our lower lips and take your lower lip, not your upper lip, just your lower lip, and move it to the left, to the right, left, right, left, right. Oh, this video is amazing. And then the upper lip is a little harder for people. Try to just move your upper lip to the one way.
Oh, that is difficult.
It's very hard.
Elvis.
But you can practice by actually taking fingers and stretching your muscles. Play with don't be frightened to pinch your one lip and pull. Pinch the lip and pull. Because by doing that, it tells your brain there's a muscle there, and that'll help wake it up. And then I get the people who do this. Opposite sides of the mouth. And I could not do that at first. I had to practice by touching my face, pulling, and paying attention, being mindful. That's important.
Wonderful.
You can wake up your face.
My face
Wonderful.
feels much better now, Lisa.
It does,
Love
actually.
Lisa.
I feel more relaxed and more
Yeah.
nimble.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Being
go on.
you can call on it at will, because you know now your body has created a new way of seeing and doing.
And is this something you do every day?
I used to do a lot of this every day. But now, because I've been doing it for decades, I don't need to anymore. But when I learned a new method, something new, like my finger, I tried to wake my hands up because my hands have been getting very stiff. So I do isolation for my fingers as well. I do
Do
it
you
for,
get a sort of a claw hand like I get? I think Dave gets as well.
Call it the
yeah,
Lego hands.
yeah, I do. So then I imagine some of the exercises to create a wave,
With your hand, yeah, a wave with your hand.
lifting it up. I'm going to do a shameless plug.
Go
Is
for
that
it.
I've got a wonderful grant from Parkinson Canada to put together a series of self-study therapeutic mind videos that I'm giving away for free. And that will be on my YouTube channel in Parkinson's Awareness Month in April. And my YouTube
Wonderful.
channel is Mime Over Mind. And there'll be all these lessons to wake your face up, to wake your hands up, to wake your body up by using the imagination, imagery, motor memory, where you repeat something over and over.
Are you able to give us a bit of a teaser of this mime therapy that you're describing? Is it something you can show us, or maybe get Dave and I involved for a bit of
Yeah,
silliness?
well, basically, it's using your imagination and using what you have right in front of you, your body. So you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money. It's a lot of fun. The only time competition comes into play is with yourself. So you're trying to do your personal best.
Not with me and Dave. We're both very competitive.
Yeah, compete each other. So we talk about ways to, for example, posture, and we have people with Parkinson's have often terrible posture, where you're slouched and your shoulders are rolled forward. So what I find helpful for that is I imagine swallowing a coat hanger. So not really,
Blimey.
really, but in my imagination, when I do that, my
Shoulders go back.
shoulders do this.
It's funny, Barbara, because I use that because I saw you doing a speech at uni. You got a great award recently. And
Oh,
you
thank
mentioned
you.
that in the speech about swallowing a coat hanger.
That's right.
And I follow that advice now, and that's what I do when I'm slumping about. I think,
It helps.
Barbara told me to swallow a coat hanger.
And I also find Marionette Wire, because when I first was diagnosed with Parkinson's, I did not move my right arm and I did not know it. So once I became aware, I then imagined I had a wire that was pulling my arm forward. And it's yes, that's right. Kuan, you've got it. You're, again, another natural in the room. Okay, you guys are
See, that's going to use competitive.
yeah, you're competing with each other now. You're both good. You're both excellent.
But
So
really, I was better, wasn't I, Barbara?
I'm not going to say anything like that.
Wink, wink. I get the message, Barbara.
Yeah, you're both very good. Yeah. I suppose the other thing is using toys. Taking a grocery bag and blowing it up with air and juggling with it. So then after you use a real object, then we have everybody do it again, but in
Without the
mind.
object.
Yeah. So that way they start tuning into their body, because as we get older, unless you really had a lot of background, usually in dance or sports, we disconnected to our bodies. So with time, we become hyper aware of our bodies, the nuances. And I'm very fortunate to be working with the University of Guelph in Canada, and with 3 talented professors, and they're doing a research study on the impact of using the therapeutic tool of mind. So I'm so excited.
Well, that does sound exciting. And does it alleviate your symptoms?
Yes,
What symptoms does it alleviate?
well, freezing of gait is one, because we teach them to stop, look, choose. Because if you don't take back control when that happens, at least it happened to me going upstairs where my legs just wouldn't move. It was like glued to the stair. I got panicky, and then it made my symptoms worse. And I felt really worried because there's all these people coming around me and I'm not able to move. So stop, look, choose. And in the sessions, we teach people how to do the mind walk. So that way you get a go-to, train yourself to do the mime walk. And that helped me move my legs through that frozen period.
What's the mime walk? I'm kind of picturing kind of Michael Jackson doing a moonwalk, that kind of thing.
Jackson developed that from mime. Most people see Marcel Marceau in their mind's eye.
Yes.
White face. That's one of the many types of mime. And it's doing a walk, but you do not move. So it's stationary. And that's helpful to help get out of freezing of gait. We do a swinging movement with our legs that becomes the mime walk. So it will be in the video for sure. Very important.
Great.
Maybe I could mention, if you don't mind me going back, I want to tell your audience, if I have permission, where to get the ebook for free.
Please do, yeah.
It's 2 places on the web, Parkinson's Europe, and Parkinson's Europe has an S, so it's like plural, .org, O-R-G. And the other location they could find the book is through pdavengers.com. And great news, I'm in the middle of working with Amazon Self-Publishing right now to get a hard copy book form of what Parkinson's is like. Trying to get it all in many languages. So the ebook is now available in German. German's now there. French, Italian, Spanish. And we're getting Ukrainian, Russian, and Japanese translated also.
Wow, Dave in Japanese, hey, I'd like to see that. You mentioned Parkinson's Europe, this wonderful umbrella organisation that works with a lot of the local national charities in Europe. Obviously, you and I took part in one of the activities before, which was a video all about being off. Yeah. I wonder if you can explain to those that don't understand the concept of off, whether they're earlier in their disease progression or whether they have a loved one with Parkinson's. What does off mean? And what does it mean to you?
Well, I really feel it. It's when my medication stops working. And it was how I felt until I started taking levodopa to override this terrible feeling. But the terrible feeling when I'm off, for me, is incredibly tired. I have to lie down and have a nap. And in my case, my former dominant side was my right side, and my foot on my right foot starts to drag. I trip. I sometimes have tripped, and I worried I almost fell a few times. And my hand, my writing gets small. I cannot hold my hand up. I remember doing a figure life drawing class with nudes. I love drawing nudes, all shapes, sizes. I love drawing people and dogs, but I couldn't have my arm up to draw. And I thought something's wrong with me. And I felt terrible because I couldn't do what I used to be able to do without any trouble at all. My mind gets also foggy, and my anxiety starts to grow. And I start worrying. I find, and it's a terrible slippery slope. And just to understand, this is not me. This is the disease, and it's without having the dopamine. Kuhan, what happened to you?
Well, exactly the same. The same. And the combination of motor and non-motor symptoms. It's not just that I slow down, but yes, the fatigue just kind of just hits you. Yeah. Like a, I'm not sure what the appropriate analogy is, but it hits you hard, and it kind of weighs you down, and it's very difficult to get out of. And the anxiety heightens, your mood lowers, you get slower. Obviously, my tremor would start. All of it, it all comes together. I always think if any one of these things just happened by itself, okay, maybe I can manage. But the fact that you've got dozens of symptoms just fluctuating every day and throughout the day, that's what I find really difficult to manage. And as time progresses, what I'm finding is I'm having more off periods. The first few years, I didn't have any off periods. I used to take my medication in the early years, every 4 hours. Then after a few years, it was every 3 hours. Mm-hmm. Then after a few years after that, I would add something into the medication mix to extend the life of the levodopa. So that kind of got me back to 3 hours. And then, it started being less than that, and now I'm sort of down to less than 2 hours. And, it's really difficult to manage because not only is the window shorter and shorter,
Yeah.
the windows become more unpredictable as well.
Yeah.
I used to be able to set my clock by when I would go off. Now it could just happen, not at any time, but certainly at unpredictable times that I can't plan for. And I find that's the most difficult thing.
Yeah. The unpredictable beast. I'm
Yes.
I'm trying to find that because we had Carl Beach in the book. And where's his image is on the cover, and that's with the green beast.
It's a great image.
Yeah, well, I'll read it to you. This is what you're describing. Sounds to me like this, if I may read you what
Please do.
Carl Beach wrote. Parkinson's feels like an unpredictable by the hour beast. It wreaks havoc with plans and work. It's the thief of my ability to communicate, stammering, illegible handwriting, face masking. My work as a speaker, writer, and community leader, peacemaker. I need expression to be able to speak. I'm trying to outsmart it, though. And what you describe with the off periods is actually happening to me right now. I went from 3 those diamond-shaped yellow pills a day,
Yes.
and now I'm taking 5 in the day plus entacapone to extend. It's going no more than 2 hours, and a control release at nighttime. Legs were getting dystonia a lot, cramp. Many of us, people with Parkinson's, have terrible sleep. So many things working against us, but I'm going to share with you something a friend shared, and I'll send the web link to you as well. And that was, have you ever seen the birds? Tons and tons of birds flying, and they form shapes. A murmuration, something like that.
Murmuration, yeah. Starlings, isn't it? Starlings do it.
Starlings, that's right. And I saw it myself in Rome, Italy. It was like the threatening Hitchcock movie, the birds. And a movement specialist, I have to find the woman's name, and I'll send you the link. She was running off her meds, were running off of her Parkinson's, and she remembered about the birds and she thought, how does each individual bird know what to do, where to move? But they're tuning into the herd around them, the swarms of birds around them. So she says, okay, I'm 5-6 blocks away from my house, and I'm running out of gas, so to speak, because my meds have worn off. How am I going to get there? It's really a struggle. My feet feel like walking in wet cement. So she looked around and she found a person walking about 6 to 10 feet in front of her who was walking normally and at a little bit of a faster rate. So she emulated them. She pretended to be them. And she got a second wind, and it helped her through that. So fascinating what you can do.
Using the herd to spur you on. I find often when I'm off, I tend to get quite quiet, and I tend not to talk. But I find when I force it, and when I'm in an off period, if I'm forced into conversation, particularly engaging conversation like this, again, I can almost sort of start to break away from an off period just by that kind of engagement, social interaction, conversation, and being active. I try to stand up when I'm feeling off, because if I sit down and slouch and everything starts hurting and the movement slows and so on, if I get up, if I walk around, if I talk to somebody, even myself sometimes, or call a friend, or in a social setting, I find that really helps. Talking of uncontrollable beasts, Dave, how does off affect you?
What I tend to do is I tend to take myself away from it. I go in a corner and sit down and just take my meds again and regroup. That's how I cope with it. I don't like being seen when I'm off. So, if I'm in the pub or something with mates, I just quietly sit there, take my meds, and be quiet for a while, and just, my meds kick in quite quickly. I'm probably back on in 15, 20 minutes, which is really great.
You are lucky, because it takes half hour for me at least.
Yeah.
It takes pretty much an hour for me now.
Wow.
It's quite frustrating. I'm always envious of Dave, because he can literally be like a statue at times. Yeah. And then 10 minutes later, he's, sort of back to his usual self.
I'm going to become like you when I grow up, Dave.
You wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want that, that's for sure.
You know what else helps? At least I'm finding it, music. I play different in the back of my mind. So when I want to have energy, I think of an upbeat tempo song, and that tends to get me going. And then if I'm anxious and really worried, my hand's shaking, everybody's looking at me, then I think of a relaxed, calming song that helps me shift into
Uh,
a more relaxed.
the stress of those situations, if you're in a public place,
Yeah.
your arm and your shakes are like a barometer to how stressed you are.
Yes. Yes.
Your arm starts going, you feel your face drops, you feel self-conscious, you're staggering around, people think you're drunk, it's horrible. It just gets worse and worse and worse. So I just take myself off. Just a little place, meditate a little bit, just keep calm and try and get back on.
That's a good piece of advice, Dave. I'm at the point in my life where I don't have much patience for what others think of me. I just feel I'm lucky to be here. Period. So I try to make a little smile and I even say out loud. I was at a grocery store trying to pack my groceries and I was in an off period. My hand was shaking, and they were all kind of looking at me like, "Are you drunk? What's wrong with you?" And I just said, "I have Parkinson's, so I'm a bit slow, and I'll get there." And then right away, that relaxed them, and some people offered to help me. But
I've been trying to teach Kieran the same thing because I'm quite open about it. If I'm out and about, I say, "Sorry, I've got." I don't say sorry. I say I've got Parkinson's. A bit slow.
That's good.
And Kieran just doesn't do that. So
well, historically I haven't done that. But I've been recently wearing this. I don't know if you have it there in North America, but here we have a sunflower badge, which is all about hidden disabilities. And
I heard about it.
Yeah, mine says I have Parkinson's, and I kind of wear it now, particularly when I'm traveling or out and about, particularly when I'm by myself. And I find actually it sort of garnishes a really sort of positive response. Some people, a lot of people offered to help, particularly on public transport. I end up striking up conversations with people because, they're like, my mother's got Parkinson's, or, I didn't realise Parkinson's, this is in a nice way, I didn't realise somebody so young could get Parkinson's. So in itself, that as an awareness piece, and including your supermarket experience, and Dave recounted a very similar story to me as well. And rather than see it as an embarrassing situation, think of it as an opportunity to share and to
teach.
To teach, yes, and to advocate, as you do so well, Barbara.
Yeah, I think that we need to be open, not try to hide. And the other concern is this is the fastest growing neurological disease.
Yes.
And what breaks my heart is that more of the young people and many women are getting Parkinson's diagnosis, and it's really a crisis. So it's good we're talking about it. Don't hide. This is what it is. And we're all part of the same human race. So let's show some compassion. And that's the other hidden thing I'm doing. I do a lot of volunteering for those maybe who are less fortunate in some way than myself, because I do it because I'm totally selfish.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good.
Yeah,
and
me
I
too.
get that dopamine rush. And,
Me too.
and so I try to do that, and not instead of feeling sorry for myself, because that's a very easy thing to do, and tough to get out of that frame of mind.
I do a bit of volunteering as well, and exactly the same. I just do it for selfish reasons.
Yeah.
And for example, this podcast, me and Dave just do for our benefit, for our joy. We don't make any money out of this. It's just for the benefit of us and anybody that will listen to us. And often after a podcast, after an engrossing chat like this, we'd walk away, Dave and I, just be buzzing, won't we, Dave? We'd just have a smile on our face.
Yeah, it set my week up perfectly, this. Thank you.
And you do so much good for so many people that I don't feel as alone anymore because of your podcast.
Oh, that's a lovely thing to say, Barbara. Thank you.
Well, you help me, you help so many, countless others. And your app is amazing. We and I tell PD support groups about it, so
great.
Access it. And Dave, I was most touched by your personal story about your father and how you do everything opposite. And you make me proud of you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure your whole family and your children proud of you. And it comes down to this. we're only here for a short time. We have no idea
Right.
how long. So before I go somewhere over the rainbow, I like to think, what can I do to make this world a shade more beautiful?
Oh, that's beautiful in itself. And we are part of the same herd. We
Yeah.
should support each other. And you started this conversation by saying Parkinson's is an unwelcome guest. You've very much been a welcome guest to the show, Barbara. So thank you very much for sharing your story. Before we close off, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you'd like to mention?
Oh, the Parkinson's book, What Parkinson's Feels Like, is coming out in hard copy soon. Just type in Amazon, whatever, and search for What Parkinson's Feels Like. And this one will be charged a base fee, and anything for any profit that I get, I donate it back to the 3 charities: Parkinson's Europe, Parkinson's Canada, and PD Avengers. They're awesome. And there are so many wonderful things going on, like 2 Parkies in a pod.
Excellent, Barbara.
Well, thank you, and thank you for everything you do. And remember, live life fully.
The wonderful Barbara Salzberg Matthews. And you can get that book via Amazon in paperback. It's a beautiful thing. And also all the profits from it go to 3 charities: PD Europe, PD Canada, and PD Avengers as well. All 3 amazing charities. And
I've got the ebook, which is free. There's a link for that in the show notes, but I think it's one of those ones that's worth getting the actual physical book. If you've got any other books that you'd recommend that's relevant for people with Parkinson's, then feel free to let us know. But yeah, what a great chat. The expression she has naturally and the way that she ties that to her Parkinson's, it's wonderful, isn't it?
she's an amazing woman. That positivity she spreads and just does good in the community. She's brilliant. You watch her, you smile, don't you? She's dancing, she's laughing.
You do. Yeah, she got us do some silly things as well. But actually, the whole face exercise thing, I recorded that last month, but I'm still doing those exercises now. Because the biting into a lemon, the raising your eyebrows, being told off by your parents, kind of thing. I think that stuff really works because we don't often exercise the face, right?
Facial masking is something that is a real problem, particularly this time of year. People think you're miserable sitting in the corner, and you're not. You can feel it good inside, but your face looks down and miserable. It's really hard for people with Parkinson's.
Yeah, well, I've only experienced facial masking noticeably recently since I've had a change in my medication regime, which I talked about in the last episode. As a consequence, I've got less dyskinesia, but I've got more off. And part of the off time is I have much less expression in my face. And it's really quite disturbing. I can see it when I'm out and about, people's reactions. I look like I'm just staring with fixed face. And, I can break out in a smile, but it's an effort, whereas it came naturally for me. And I always think with Parkinson's, it's one thing to lose your independence to Parkinson's, but when you lose something akin to your identity, like a smile, something priceless and infectious and wonderful as a smile, it's really hard to take, isn't it?
It's really tough when you can't smile. You've got to really work at it. Lift your cheeks and lift your face, lift your eyebrows, like Barbara said. And, it can be really disconcerting when people, particularly when you don't blink a lot as well. You look like you're staring, if you catch someone's eye, you look like you're staring at them. And it can look quite aggressive, particularly I'm a big bloke, so people think I'm spoiling for something,
Right. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way. Unfortunately, I'm not a big bloke, so I kind of people just think, I don't know what they think, but I've just noticed a few reactions, a few stares at my stare, as it were. It's cruel, but hopefully those little exercises will help people, and hopefully listening to this podcast will make you smile as well. Talking of this podcast, we've had a 5-fold increase in our listeners this year, Dave. Listened to in 121 countries.
Incredible.
I'm a bit bemused why, but we do love our listeners from all over the world, and love hearing your messages. And thanks for supporting us this year. It's been wonderful, and there's a lot more to come next year, isn't there, Dave?
Yeah, we really love doing it, and we're looking forward to getting loads of episodes out next year. We've got some great guests lined up for the new year, so hopefully we'll bring you lots of podcasts.
Lots of podcasts and lots of people do amazing things, Dave, by any chance?
Hopefully. Yeah, should we do that?
Let's do that. I think it's appropriate to the end of the year on people with Parkinson's do amazing things.
Here we go. Cue the jingle.
People with Parkinson's do amazing things.
Parkinson's advocate Larry Gifford has been awarded the King Charles III Coronation Medal. This prestigious honour recognises significant contributions to the Parkinson's community in Canada and worldwide. 52-year-old was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2017. Gifford co-founded the Global Alliance to End Parkinson's, PD Avengers, and presented the podcast When Life Gives You Parkinson's. Well done, Larry, brilliant.
Well done. A lot of that was the inspiration for this podcast as well. I saw that Rory Kathleen Jones got an OBE as well. That's wonderful news, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to us getting OBEs in the new year as well. Fantastic.
I think Rory's is for contribution to journalism, so well done. Although
we definitely won't get that.
No, but I wouldn't begrudge him getting one for services to Parkinson's because he's been a great advocate, right?
Yeah, top man, yeah. Another top man here. Cue the jingle.
People with Parkinson's do amazing things.
I am Anthony. This is a letter we got in. Well, an email. I say letters, email. I am Anthony. Back in the 1980s and 90s, I was picture expert on the BBC Antiques Roadshow. I also worked as a valuer on Flog It for over 12 years. I was officially diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2017. I thought this letter published in the Sunday Times in July might amuse you. This is great. Despite having Parkinson's and approaching 80, I've become notorious at Chelsea Arts Club for my dancing. Last week I went to a cocktail bar on the King's Road, frequented by the young. I was dismayed that although they had a good DJ, nobody was dancing. So I strutted my Saturday Night Fever moves and soon had everybody dancing. The manager asked if I could visit every Saturday and change the bar's ambience. I was there till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wonderful. That's a positive story, isn't it? I was wondering where that was going when I read the first opening line about Antiques Roadshow. I thought, what's this? But no, what a wonderful, joyful, festive story that is. Wonderful inspiration.
He's also invited us out for a drink. Wishing all good things. Anthony J. Lester, I think we might take you up on that, Anthony.
Well done, Anthony. Yeah, would love to join you.
People with Parkinson's do amazing things.
Animal lovers will love this one. Meet Alan and his assistant's dog Hamlin. Alan was struggling with his Parkinson's, so he was matched with a gorgeous golden retriever to help him with his day-to-day tasks. Alan says, I have a rope with 2 loops at the end of it. I hold on to the loops and he pulls me at the other end and helps me out of bed. He can pick up his food bowl from the floor, which helps me because I can't bend down. He can load and unload the washing machine. His favourite thing to do is closing the door on the dishwasher with his nose. He absolutely loves it.
That's amazing. I get the picking up the food off the floor, but loads and unloads the dishwasher.
I need a dog. I wouldn't train my dog to do that.
I can't imagine Ruby doing that. I know she picks up the dreads on the floor, but I can't imagine her unloading the dishwasher.
That'd be the perfect dog, wouldn't it? Unloading and loading the dishwasher. Brilliant.
Yeah.
People with Parkinson's do amazing things.
Now the incredible Michael J. Fox has been awarded the CNN Heroes Legacy Award. The award honours extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. Since he was diagnosed with Parkinson's at the age of 29, he's brought hope to millions of people around the world. He launched the Michael J. Fox Foundation to target and speed up research to eradicate the disease. He's now funded $2 billion worth of research.
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, we mentioned him quite a lot on this podcast. How can you not? And for his services to Parkinson's, another great recognition. Everyone's getting awards, Dave. When are we getting ours?
People with Parkinson's do amazing things.
Finally, you're amazing if you've been listening to this podcast. We wish you a happy and healthy new year. Remember, you're not alone with Parkinson's. There's a massive Parkinson's community out there helping every step of the way. They're cheering you on every step of the way, aren't they?
Absolutely, including us. And you're definitely not alone. And we thank you for listening and engaging with us, sending us your messages. We love hearing from you. Keep it up.
Hopefully we've inspired you, educated you, made you smile in 2024. Lots more to come in 2025. Keep moving, keep smiling, and keep listening, please.
Please. Hopefully you've had a few laughs along the way this year. Plenty more to come next year. And I'd echo what Dave says, but also just be proud of yourself as well, because having Parkinson's is not easy, particularly this time of year. And you're all amazing people, and you're amazing listeners, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for supporting the podcast.
We'll see you in the new year. Bye.
See you next year.